Okay guys, section 3. These days section 3 is full of multiple choice questions. There can be 10 questions, there can be 6 questions or 4 questions. Now we've got multiple choice in section 3 and the title is Paper on Public Libraries. Paper means research paper. It doesn't mean kaghaz. Okay? Paper on public libraries. Public libraries are the libraries where people can go and read a book or a magazine or anything like that. Now, question number 21. What will be the main topic? Whenever they use the word main topic, one option is about the main topic and the other two options are about the minor topics that they may study and all that. What will be the main topic of Trudy and Stewart's paper? Now, in the audio, there are two characters. One is Trudy, one is Stewart, and what will be their main topic? Now, you can see the options are really long. A, how public library services are organized in different countries. So, simply how, you need to assume few things. The whole talk is about public libraries. So, how they are organized internationally. How they are organized internationally. Very simple. Option B, and by the way, you will have to do it very, very soon. I am taking the luxury of time and explaining. You got to do it in 30 seconds, quickly. B, changes in society affect public libraries. So, changes in society and affect public libraries. And C, funding of public libraries changed. So, changed funding. Okay, main idea in C is funding, in B is changes in society, and in A, how they are organized. Now, I play the audio, please listen carefully and then decide what's the right answer.
Okay, Stuart, we need to start planning our paper on public libraries. Have you thought of an angle yet?
Well, there's so much we could look into. How libraries have changed over the centuries, for instance, or how different countries organise them. What do you think, Trudy?
Maybe we should concentrate on this country and try and relate the changes in libraries to external developments, like the fact that far more people can read than a century ago, and that the local population may speak lots of different languages.
We could include something about changes in the source of funding too.
Yes, but remember we're only supposed to write a short paper, so it's probably best if we don't go into funding in any detail.
Right.
So, my God, you've been trapped. Yeah, it is B. For C, said funding, they say we might not go into that. We are only supposed to write. I play the audio again. Okay, so, this is basically what will be the main topic of Trudy and Stewart. They should agree on that. What will be the main topic? Please listen, especially the last part where you were trapped, those who selected C.
Okay, Stuart, we need to start planning our paper on public libraries. Have you thought of an angle yet?
Well, there's so much we could look into. How libraries have changed over the centuries, for instance, or how different countries organise them. What do you think, Trudy?
Maybe we should concentrate on this country and try and relate the changes in libraries to external developments, like the fact that far more people can read than a century ago. And that the local population may speak lots of different languages?
We could include something about changes in the source of funding too.
Yes, but remember we're only supposed to write a short paper, so it's probably best if we don't go into funding in any detail.
Don't go into funding, we are supposed to write a short paper, so C is gone there, A is gone, B is the right answer. Okay, now 22. They agree. See that? I told you, multiple choice, they decided, they agree. And all that. Now you will see on one option they agree, on two options they will not agree. It's the same thing. आज की पकाई है पिंडी? नहीं, मैंने भिंडी नहीं खानी. फिर दूसरा कहते हैं दाल पका लेते, नहीं मैंने दाल भी नहीं खानी. What about ghost? That's a good idea. जब agree करेंगे ना फिर बोलेंगे that's a good idea. Let's go for it. You're right. Let's do it. Something like that. अच्छा जी, they agree that one advantage of free digitalized books is that one advantage free digitalized book, ये जो नहीं आपके पास PDF आता है, that is what they call digitalized book. So one advantage is that, or they agree on it. अब एक बंदा बोलेगा मेरे ख्याल से free digitalized book का advantage ये है, दूसरा कहेगा छाड़ दे ये नहीं है. Sorry, disadvantage. Okay, so you'll focus. One disadvantage of digitalized book is actually that, and they agree on it, both of them. And for agreement, they might use any phrase. Okay, take a long time to read. Option A क्या होगा? देखिए यहाँ लिखा, they may take a long time to read. आप focus करें, long time to read. B can be difficult to read. सिर्फ focus करें difficult to read. A हो गया long time to read. B हो गया difficult to read. C हो गया generally old. कि जो digitalized books हैं वो आमतौर पे पुरानी होती हैं. Let's see what the right answer is. And again agreement.
Well, shall we just brainstorm a few ideas to get started?
Okay. We obviously need to look at the impact of new technology, particularly the internet. Now that lots of books are being digitalised, people can access them from their own computers at home.
And if everyone did that, libraries would be obsolete.
Yes.
But the digitalised books that are available online for free are mostly out of copyright, aren't they? And copyright in this country lasts for 70 years after the author dies. So you won't find the latest bestseller or up-to-date information.
That's an important point. Anyway, I find it hard to concentrate when I'm reading a long text on a screen. I'd much rather read a physical book. And it takes longer to read on a screen.
Oh, I prefer it. I suppose it's just a personal preference.
Okay, I prefer it. She said it takes me a long time. Say, oh, I prefer it. So A और B दोनों को उसने cancel कर दिया. So what is the answer? C, generally old. Copyright lasts for 70 years after the author dies and all that. समझ आया? लग यही रहा था कि A या B में से कुछ होगा. But then he said, oh, I prefer it. और हमने क्या देखना था? Agreement. Yeah, but then the man said, oh, I prefer it. Yeah. She said about herself. इसी तरह से trap करते हैं. Question number 23. Steward experts that in the future libraries will. अब आपने सिर्फ स्टीवर्ड को सुनना है, राइट, कि वो क्या कहता है कि लाइब्रेरीज के साथ क्या होगा. मेंटेन देयर ट्रेडिशनल फंक्शन. बी, बिकम सेंटर्स फॉर लोकल कम्युनिटीज. अंडरलाइन कर लें, सेंटर्स फॉर लोकल कम्युनिटीज. और सी, नो लॉन्गर कंटेन एनी बुक्स. राइट, सो लेट्स सी व्हाट इज आउट ऑफ 3.
I expect the libraries will go on evolving in the next few years. Some have already become centres where community activities take place, like local clubs meeting there. I think that'll become even more common.
I'd like to think so. And that they'll still be serving their traditional function. But I'm not so sure. There are financial implications after all. What I'm afraid will happen is that books and magazines will all disappear and there'll just be rows and rows of computers. They won't look anything like the libraries we're used to.
Well, we'll see.
What the lady spoke first, उसको बोलने दें. सुनना ही नहीं तेनू. हमने सुनना है किसको? स्टीवर्ड को सुनना है. तो स्टीवर्ड ने बोला rows of computer and books and magazines will not be there, so no longer contain any books. C will be the answer. अच्छा जी, आगे चलते हैं. समझ आ रहे हैं? बस यही प्रैक्टिस करके देखें ना. रोटी पकानी सीख ली है, अब इस पे 5 मिनट लग रहे हैं. ये देखना है कि अब 1 मिनट में रोटी कैसे पकानी. ठीक है, प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, राइट डायरेक्शन में जाएंगे तो ये हो जाएगा. Questions 24 to 30. Complete the notes below. समझ आ गया जी, notes completion है. Write one word only. कोई नंबर नहीं है. One word only. तो आपने सिर्फ एक word लिखना है. Study of local library possible questions. कि local library की जो study है उस पे possible questions क्या क्या हैं. Whether it has. अब जरा गौर से सुनिएगा, it का क्या मतलब है? Library. Exactly. तो अगर खाली इट को इट पढ़ेंगे तो समझ नहीं आएगा. अगर आप पढ़ेंगे वेदर लाइब्रेरी हैज अ डैश ऑफ इट्स ओन, कि लाइब्रेरी की अपनी कोई चीज है, अब वो कौन सी चीज है दैट बिलोंग्स टू द लाइब्रेरी. आई प्ले द ऑडियो एंड वन वर्ड ओनली.
I've just had an idea. Why don't we make an in-depth study of our local public library as background to our paper?
Yes, that'd be interesting. And raise all sorts of issues. Let's make a list of possible things we could ask about, then work out some sort of structure. For instance, we could interview some of the staff and find out whether the library has its own budget or if that's controlled by the local council.
And what their policies are. I know they don't allow food, but I'd love to find out what types of noise they ban. There always seems to be a lot of talking, but never music. I don't know if that's a policy or it just happens.
I've often wondered.
Budget, library has its own. अब वो जो it लिख दिया ना, अगर आप it ही देखते रहेंगे ना फिर नहीं समझ आएगा he, she, it and all that. So it को फौरन convert कर लें, then you can understand. Library has its own budget. Okay. Budget, B-U-G-G. Good. अगर स्पेलिंग गलत हो गए तो गलत हो जाएगा, ठीक है? और किसी से पूछना नहीं है, अगर किसी से पूछा एक आंसर तो सही हो जाएगा, लेकिन पूरा टेस्ट कैंसिल हो जाएगा, राइट? तब आपने फैसला करना है एक आंसर सही करना है या पूरा टेस्ट कैंसिल करवाना है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 25, हाउ इट्स अफेक्टेड. फिर इट कहां पे जा रहा है? लाइब्रेरी. लाइब्रेरी इज अफेक्टेड बाय लॉज रिगार्डिंग ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ. अब लॉज किस चीज के हैं? रिगार्डिंग ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ मींस के लॉज किस चीज के हैं? लेट्स सी दैट. ओके.
Then there are things like how the library is affected by employment laws. I suppose there are rules about working hours, facilities for staff and so on.
Right.
अच्छा, अब एक चीज सुन लें और पल्ले बांध लें. देखें, जब भी आईएल्स लिसनिंग में या रीडिंग में आए ना लॉज रिगार्डिंग ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ, लॉज दैट आर, इसका मतलब है कि आंसर लॉज से पहले आएगा. इसका मतलब है कि आंसर एडजेक्टिव होगा. लाइक दिस सेड, या इट्स अ नाउन, एम्प्लॉयमेंट लॉज. अब एम्प्लॉयमेंट लॉज एंड लॉज रिगार्डिंग ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट एक ही बात है. मतलब अगर मैं ये कहता हूं ना कि फूड रिगार्डिंग ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ हेल्थ, तो क्या होगा? हेल्दी फूड, राइट? सो इट्स गोइंग टू बी एम्प्लॉयमेंट. क्लियर? ऑलराइट. अब ये भी एक तरीका ना, आपको आहिस्ता आहिस्ता इनकी सारी, यानी एग्जामिनर का माइंड आप रीड कर लेंगे, आपको समझ आ जाएगी जब इसने ये बोला है ऑडियो में इसने लाजमी यही कहना है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 26, हाउ द डिजाइन नीड्स टू टेक द डैश ऑफ कस्टमर्स. अब डैश ऑफ कस्टमर्स, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर फर्ज करें आंसर है लॉयल्टी ऑफ कस्टमर्स, तो ऑडियो में बोल सकता है कस्टमर्स लॉयल्टी. ठीक है, आंसर जो है उसके बाद भी आ सकता है. ऑफ भी जब आता है तो आमतौर पे कस्टमर्स लॉयल्टी, कस्टमर्स इंटरेस्ट. कस्टमर्स इंटरेस्ट को आप और कैसे डिफाइन कर सकते हैं? इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द कस्टमर्स. लेट्स सी ऐसा होता है कि नहीं होता.
Then there are other issues relating to the design of the building and how customers use it. Like, what measures does the library take to ensure their safety? They'd need floor coverings that aren't slippery and emergency exits, for instance.
अच्छा, अब कस्टमर्स के लिए उसने क्या वर्ड यूज किया? देयर सेफ्टी. पहले कस्टमर्स का नाम ले दिया, उसके बाद देयर का वर्ड यूज किया एंड देयर सेफ्टी. आई प्ले दिस अगेन.
Then there are other issues relating to the design of the building and how customers use it. Like, what measures does the library take to ensure their safety? They'd need floor coverings that aren't slippery and emergency exits, for instance.
ये सारी चीजें जो बाद में बताएंगे ये सेफ्टी में आती हैं, राइट? सो इंश्योर देयर सेफ्टी. अच्छा जी, क्वेश्चन नंबर 27, व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड इन केस ऑफ एक्सीडेंट्स. एक्सीडेंट की सूरत में क्या होता है? That's right. Okay. Question number 27. Let's do it.
Oh, and another thing. There's the question of the kind of insurance the library needs to have in case anyone gets injured.
Yes, that's something else to find out.
Accident की जगह पे वर्ड क्या आ गया? In case anyone gets injured. वो एक्सीडेंट हो गया और insurance will be the answer. Question number 28. Why a famous person's dash? लाइब्रेरी में आमतौर पे होता है ना फेमस पर्सन का कोई स्टैचू हो गया या कोई और चीज होगी. Why a famous person's dash is located in the library? अब फेमस पर्सन की कोई चीज, कोई भी कुछ भी हो सकता है, उसका स्टैचू हो सकता है या उसकी कोई और चीज हो सकती है. लेट्स जस्ट सी.
You know something I've often wondered?
What's that?
Well, you know they've got an archive of local newspapers going back years. Well, next to it they've got the diary of a well-known politician from the late 19th century.
Diary of a well-known politician from the late 19th century. So the answer is diary. How do you spell diary? D-I-A-R-Y, not the dairy. Okay? Yeah. So famous person, well-known politician. ठीक हो गया? चलें जी आगे चलते हैं. 29. Whether it has a dash of local organizations. It का मतलब है library. Library has a dash of local organizations. A dash of what? Let's see.
I wonder why it's there. Do you know what his connection was with this area?
No idea. Let's add it to our list of things to find out. Oh, I've just thought. You know, people might ask in the library about local organisations like sports clubs. Well, I wonder if they keep a database or whether they just look online.
Right.
Database, that's right, whether it has a database of local organizations. And last, how it's different from a library in a. Library in a ki jo library kisi jagah pe location, the answer is going to be a location. How it is different means how library is different from a library in a something.
I quite fancy finding out what the differences are between a library that's open to the public and one that's part of a museum, for example. They must be very different.
Then something else I'd like to know is...
Museum. And how do you spell museum? M-U-S-E-U-M. Very good. All right, well done.